Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
Louis.
Yes.
You want to talk about Doctor Who?
I do.
Really?
Well, yeah, I do.
Well, then start talking.
Doctor Who is a television show that began
What did you think about Day of the Moon?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you did.
You didn't?
No.
So, why not?
It's really hard to pretend that that I haven't already said these things, because, dear listener, a little behind the scenes, peek behind the curtain, we had to restart this recording because I'm a dummy. But yeah, this is good. I should say this because I said it before. And
okay.
It's very dramatic and pronouncey.
Pronouncey.
Like, this episode, while watching it for the first time, I found it less enjoyable than Fear Her.
Oh, right, yeah.
I said that.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking, isn't it?
It is. Would you like me to reenact my shock?
Yeah.
Gasp. No, that wasn't very... Nah, I didn't feel it.
You did all right.
Yeah, okay, we're moving on.
Okay, but yeah, it is not an episode I enjoyed very much on first viewing, and second viewing did improve it a little bit for me, but not all that much. I feel like there's less focus on actually telling a story and more focus on repeatedly shocking you with nonsensical jumps that reminded me very much of the event.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I could see how that would ruin anyone's enjoyment of that episode.
Especially in the first, maybe 20 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, the first 20 minutes or so were probably my least favorite parts of the episode, just because it was so much... what I really didn't like about it was the whole 3 months later thing, where you're supposed to sort of... where you're taken away from that cliffhanger. And I feel like it's almost a cheat, because they just don't address the cliffhanger at all, and they just jump right into this, 3 months later, where you're supposed to guess at what has happened, and you're trying to piece together how they got here, why is Amy running, what's going on, and it's just, it really is unpleasant. I just don't like that kind of a thing. I feel like it is cheating. And,
the cliffhanger itself was never really that dramatic and tense to begin with.
True.
So I feel like, what's the point of having a cliffhanger? I mean, if you're just going to jump 3 months into the future anyway and not address the cliffhanger, then why not go all out? Right. Like, why not do something even crazier than, Amy accidentally might have shot a little girl?
Right.
And then that is addressed about half an hour into this episode, where she's like, I'm glad I missed.
Yeah, that itself was kind of silly. I don't know. I didn't like how that was handled. It's like, she just missed. But
yeah, instead of resolving that problem, they introduce an entirely new set of problems, and then resolve those problems.
Right.
By jumping around chronologically. And then they have them in the TARDIS talking about stuff, and they flash forward to Amy and Canton riding to a house, and then they flash back to them in the TARDIS talking about stuff, and it's just so event. It's just so event.
See, I did actually...
This is based on my only ever having watched the first episode of the event.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Clarifying for the benefit of the listener.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any more than you, so I can't correct you if maybe the format of the show completely changed. But yeah, as far as I know, you're spot on in your comparison to the event. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I did like the bit in the TARDIS. I did like the whole... I like how they sort of handled the the memory thingamawhatsit where, Canton at first did not remember his thing and then he had to play it back. I thought that was a cool way to do it. I actually liked whenever they did that in the episode where you saw it from the point of view of the character who couldn't remember seeing the silence. And I actually thought that was really, really creepy that they would just suddenly look down and realize they had a message and it's like, oh crap, what did they just see?
Yeah, I that is one of the aspects I enjoyed, because I always like, and this is something Stephen Moffat does really well, is he makes up villains or whatever that behave according to certain rules.
Yeah.
And then sort of plays with the rules and has the characters figure out clever ways of using those rules to their own advantage, or getting around, or finding loopholes in those rules, which is a sort of very science fiction-y thing to do.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, and that was also how the episode was resolved with the.
I hated that, though.
Really?
Okay. Well, the thing is, that is a very clever way of resolving the situation. But it's so utterly out of character for the Doctor.
Huh.
Like, the notion that his solution would be to use, like, to commit genocide against the Silence without giving them any sort of chance, and his weapon of choice is the human race. That is just, no. And his justification for this is, well, it's not Christmas. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Oh, that made me really mad. But
didn't he give him a chance to?
No, he lied and pretended he was going to give them a chance. He said, I'm going to give you a chance. Actually, you know what? I'm just kidding. I'm not really going to give you a chance.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I would have actually liked that ending if it had been someone else who came up with that idea and executed it. Like if River had done it and the Doctor had gotten really upset with her or something like that. Then I would have found the episode a lot more, or at least the conclusion a lot more palatable. But that just, that really upset me.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't know. It does seem out of character for the Doctor, but I don't know. I didn't really feel that at the time, and I'm just wondering why that is. I'm wondering why I didn't. Why don't I? I don't know. I feel like I'm okay with that though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're wrong to be okay with that, but no. And then the climax of the episode is a big firefight. Although, I mean, it's kind of funny because River's shooting them and the Doctor's sort of waving his sonic screwdriver around and pretending he's doing something. But I was tweeting about this, but after they get into the TARDIS, does anyone remember any of that climactic battle? Like, do they know that they have defeated the Silence? Because they act as though they know they've defeated the Silence, but I have no idea how they would know.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
And for
That's
instance,
weird.
There's this whole thing about, and then they bring back the whole, don't even get me started on the whole, oh my god, does Amy really love the Doctor, or does she really love Rory? It's like, we've been back to that well so many times, and
yeah.
I'm sick of hearing that.
Yeah. I actually am quite tired of that too. And I thought it was really silly, the whole dropped out of the sky, oh, it's just an expression. Like,
that is so not just an expression.
Yeah.
I mean, like, she wouldn't have said that.
Right. It's so... And I mean, I sort of assumed that she was talking about Rory, and so I figured the expression dropped out of the sky was just picked just so that it would... I mean, obviously it was just picked so that it would...
Well, yeah, it's so constructed. It's so obviously forced. Like, it's got to be vague enough, but it's got to sort of suggest... I actually think the same thing about the point where the Silent just happened to say specifically, you should kill us all on sight.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just so convenient. Without any prodding, he's like, we're your enemy. You should kill us all on sight. Instead, he could have said, we're your enemy. You shouldn't help us, or you should hate us, or he could have said any one of 1,000 things, but he just happened to say the one thing that would make the Doctor's plan succeed.
Huh. I just kind of figured that he was sort of sitting there waiting for the chance to say... waiting for the chance to record the silence saying something. I don't know. I just figured this was like the 1,000th time that he was sat down with the silence to try and convince him to say something that might, I don't know. Maybe I'm just once again wrong, but I don't know. I find that more believable than the whole drop it out of the sky thing. By comparison, I think that the dropping out of the sky thing is much worse.
I agree. It is worse, but it's just another thing that bothered me.
Okay.
Also, have Amy and Rory never seen footage of the moon landing?
That's interesting.
And I think one possible solution to that is to say, well, the footage of the moon landing was unaltered in their timeline, but now it's been altered. But that doesn't work for me either, because Canton remembers... old Canton, like the old version of Canton that is at the Doctor's funeral or whatever, or his wake. Yeah. And he brings the gasoline. He remembers the events of 1969 as they happened, as we see them happening. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Sorta.
So, I mean, it's not like, oh, this didn't happen, but now the Doctor made it happen. The way this story is working is that, oh, it was always meant to happen this way. This is what happened anyway. And they're just going back in time and causing it.
Right. Okay. But at the same time, well, no, that would... Yeah, alright, fair enough. I don't know. Actually, to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen footage of the moon landing.
Really?
I don't think so.
That's kind of distressing, because the Doctor's plan relies on the notion that everyone will see that footage.
Right, so, I guess his plan falls apart. Because I'm sure I could do that. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know though. No, I just don't think I ever. I've heard the audio, what's his name? God, I can't remember.
Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, there we go. Neil. I have a lot of stuff in my head.
It's not Lance Armstrong. It's not Stretch Armstrong.
There's a lot of Armstrongs for me to remember.
Yeah.
Yes, Neil Armstrong. I've heard the audio, the soundbite. I don't think I've ever actually seen the actual footage.
What's the rule for silence audio?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you don't remember hearing them either.
Well, because
But then again, then it would still work, because then... Well, it would work for me. Why did I suddenly think that why did I suddenly think that Doctor Who was real?
I don't know. I do that all the time. Anyhow, but the Doctor tells Nixon to record everything in the Oval Office.
Does he?
Yeah, he tells Nixon. This is one of those many little scenes that are just... We're cutting from scene to scene crazily with no rhyme or reason, but we cut to a scene of the Doctor in the Oval Office telling Nixon, now remember to record everything so that you know that you're responsible for your own actions.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I would think that you'd have to... I don't know. You're saying you wonder how, the sound works? Would they remember hearing the sound? Would you remember hearing them? Probably not. I don't know.
Nah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is. Also, I feel like... and this may play completely differently after Series 6 has ended, or even after the first half of Series 6 has ended. But the main thing that dominated the first half of The Impossible Astronaut was the Doctor's death. Right. And that's barely even mentioned in Part 2. I didn't expect it to get resolved, but I expected it to somehow affect the way a character acted in a situation.
Right.
And that has, like, I expected it to motivate Amy doing something that Amy wouldn't otherwise have done. Or Amy and River, like, I expected that conflict to come to a head when Amy tries to do something that River won't let her do. Or something like that. I don't want a complete resolution of that plot, because obviously that's going to be an ongoing thing. But it's just completely irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. There's no mention of it. There's nothing, and I mean, like, I thought it was humorous how at the end of the episode the doctor was like, "Oh, let's go have some adventures," but at the same time, it is a very it just feels very strange for them to just pick up like, "Oh, all right, well, let's go have fun now," like as if everything has been resolved, and it hasn't, and I just think it's kind of weird, and I'd like to think that that it'll be brought up, again, but it just feels like at the end of this episode it was kind of like, just, yeah, there really wasn't a mention of it, and it was very weird that, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it may be, like I said, that in retrospect everything will be a lot clearer and a lot more cohesive. But I just don't think I'm not sure I respect their decision to be, well, let's make this bad now, because it'll be good later. But for now, it'll be bad, so let's make it bad.
Right.
And I wonder whether we're going to see Canton again.
Yeah, because but then again, yeah, that would be interesting.
It seems to me that there could be more between where we last see him in this episode and where we pick up with old Canton, who is played by Mark Sheppard's father.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but now I know, and now I'm telling you, and now you know. And now so do our listeners if they didn't already.
Huh. That's interesting, because I was like, hey, this guy looks like Mark Sheppard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how they did that. Now I know. It was all genetics.
Yep, they genetically engineered Mark Sheppard for this role. Yep.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I still really liked this episode.
I mean, there was a lot to like about it. I think a lot of it, the creepy parts were really creepy.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I didn't really like the whole let's go to this orphanage and meet a crazy man thing, because I was so upset at how badly I saw the story structure as being, that I was like, why are we spending so much time here when we could be doing other things that address concerns that I have as a viewer? But I mean, going into it the second time without the expectation that it was going to address the concerns I wanted it to, I was more able to enjoy Crazyguy and Creepyhouse.
Crazyguy and Creepyhouse.
That's the title of this podcast episode.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I didn't really know what to expect going in, and I just sort of kept it that way, so when it didn't address all the things that I thought it might address, I was kind of okay with it. And I mean, I don't like having all these questions pushed onto a back burner, but I do just acknowledge that it's I'm hoping it's done for a reason.
I sometimes feel like the episode is bragging about how much smarter it is and how much more it knows. It's like, oh yeah, here's a crazy eye patch lady who says something for no reason. Yeah, you probably don't get it, but I know what it's all about, because I'm Stephen Moffat, and I'm writing the damn show. You know what I mean? Like crazy eye patch lady, you know what I'm referring to, right?
No.
Okay, so Amy's in the orphanage or something, and she looks through this door,
yeah.
And the little thing in the door slides open, and there's a crazy eye patch lady, and she's like, nope, she's probably dreaming, and then closes the thingy.
Yes.
And then Amy opens the door, and it's an empty room, and there was no little hole.
Yes. Okay, that is one of the things that really annoyed me, and because it just was not addressed at all.
It's like Moffat's just screwing with us. He's like, "Yep, this is a thing, but you don't know about it." So that's how I imagine Moffat.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the executive producer of Doctor Who. That's what he is, right? Is that what he is?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the same thing with I don't know. I feel that a little less so with Amy's pregnancy and and the child.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about that. I just don't know. It just. And what's with? Let's get to the end of the episode where we see the kid.
The kid
regenerate. Like, what? What?
I feel like on the one hand I want to know what that's all about. But I feel like it would be more exciting for me if I had a little bit more context to be like, who is this kid? We don't know anything about the kid.
True.
And so because we don't know anything, there's no opportunity for me to be surprised that she's a Time Lord. I mean, okay, well, what the hell else could she be? I don't know. She could be a frog. She could be, I don't know, she could be like a sentient android or something. Because we don't know anything about this kid. But if we had, like, if this kid had been a character who had, like, discernible motivations in this story and interacted with the other characters in a meaningful way other than incoherent cries for help and almost getting shot, then I might feel some kind of investment in a character, and at which point I could be surprised when I find out that this character can regenerate.
But now, all right, see, the thing is this supposed to be, and I don't even know how this would be possible, is this supposed to be Amy's kid?
I've heard that suggested. I've also, somehow maybe it's, I don't know, it could be Jenny.
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking that.
You would. But, yeah, I do get the impression that it's Amy's kid, because she goes into the, she sees a picture of herself.
Right. So I guess the question becomes, why does Amy have a kid in, like, 1967 or whenever it would have been, so that the kid would be however old? Well, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know time, but, like,
in the 60s.
Yeah, the 60s, precisely. What's she doing there? Why is she getting pregnant there? And why is she having a baby there? Or did she have a baby at another time, and is the baby now or the child now in the 60s? And if so, why? And if not, what did I just say? I don't, but like, okay. And another thing is, no, wait, I lost my thought. Well, just getting back to the regeneration thing, if this is Amy's kid, then why is she a Time Lord? Like, how did that happen? I mean, like, it's almost, I don't know.
Well, I don't...
Maybe, oh my god, maybe she is a time baby.
The question whether she's a Time Lord, I mean, it could be possible that someone else could regenerate other than a Time Lord.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
No.
What?
No, I don't know what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying is we've always thought of regeneration as a Time Lord attribute, but it could be that she could not be a Time Lord but still somehow have gained the ability to regenerate. You see what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
It could also be that this has something to do with the big deal about burning the Doctor's body. And about how a Time Lord's body is a miracle, and if even a single cell is taken, it could change the universe or something.
Okay. See, because I was thinking, when we learned about this, that this kid has the ability to regenerate, I was thinking, okay, this is going to somehow be used to bring the 1100-year-old Doctor back to life. That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, they're going to find some way to bring him back to life, and it's going to be with this kid.
Maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
You think he's going to steal a child's regeneration?
Absolutely. Hey, if he can commit genocide against all of the Silence, he can steal a kid's regenerations.
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. No, I don't know. Maybe the kid will just give him up. Maybe the kid will be very, very generous and just be like, you know what, Doctor? You can have him. You can have my regenerations.
Could be. Why not? I'm kind of. I like the way that story has always, like, ongoing stories have always been handled in the past in New Who. I prefer the idea of we have little bits of the ongoing story arc sprinkled throughout, but they're mostly standalone episodes, and then they come to a shocking conclusion at the end.
See, I kind of thought that. Well, I guess, but I kind of thought that was getting kind of old.
See, I mean, I didn't, because, I mean, it was episodes like Vincent and the Doctor that really made me enjoy last season. Like, that was one of my favorites.
Well, okay.
I mean, and it's the standalones that I often remember most, like The Impossible Planet / The Satan Pit, or Blink, or Midnight. I mean...
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
But, I mean, and I feel like there are going to be a lot of... I feel like they're probably still going to do those. Like, this week's episode looks to me like it may very well be just a standalone story, but that's going to be kind of a jarring transition after this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I guess it will. You know, I feel like, it is kind of... That is sort of unfair, I guess, to go from being all, this is all important for later this season, and then have something that's once again a standalone episode. And I guess it is sort of like having cake / eating too.
Yeah.
Trying to be all losty and making everything relevant and ongoing, and then not.
Well, only in Lost, not everything turned out to be relevant.
Well, that's true.
Spoilers, but I don't know, like, to demonstrate the fact that episodes are going to be standalone, Neil Gaiman's episode was moved.
Really?
It was originally, I think it was going to be in the second half of the season.
Oh,
and
really?
It was moved to the first half.
Huh.
It's the week after next, or maybe it wasn't Gaiman's, maybe it was someone else's. But I mean, the episode order has been changed. And if it was going to be heavily serialized, I think the change happened prior to filming, so there could have been minor storyline tweaks.
Huh.
But, I mean, I just don't know.
Huh. That's interesting. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't dislike what they tried to do with this two-parter. I don't dislike that they tried to make this, to set up the whole season with this opening two-parter. But I don't know. I just feel like if they were going to do that, they would have to do kind of a thing where, you know, every episode is part of a bigger story.
And I feel like if you look at, say, the 11th Hour, that did in a lot of ways set up the ongoing story of Series 5.
Well, that's true.
But it was still very much its own story.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I like a lot about especially New Who, the bad guy almost always has some kind of clear motivation, like a thing that they want.
Right.
Whereas the Silence don't.
Right.
We don't know whether they were involved in in the TARDIS exploding in Series 5. I think it seems to me that they were, but maybe they weren't. And why they would want to do that, why they wanted to reset the universe, what bothers me most is why they killed Joy.
That's true. They don't kill anyone else.
Why they wanted Amy to tell the Doctor about her pregnancy?
Right.
Why anything?
Yeah, they're kind of like less cool observers.
Yeah.
But it's and that's another thing is if the Doctor has like committed genocide and has basically killed the Silence, or at least, well, I guess killed the Silence on Earth. I guess I haven't killed the Silence all over the place. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, how? I guess my question was going to be, how can the Silence be recurring villains or the villains of season 6 if they're already all dead? But I mean, I guess if they could be elsewhere or just before 1969, then I guess they'll still be around.
I don't think he's actually even really killed them. He's just sort of sent them on the run.
That's true.
And put them all at great risk. I mean,
right.
It could be that... I mean, Amy sees a Silence in the early part of The Impossible Astronaut when they're at the picnic.
Right.
It could be that they've been driven out into, like, middle of nowhere places like that.
True.
And that could be why there's a Silent there.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense. But
she doesn't murder it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, how does that work?
What happens if someone, if there are two people, okay, one of them sees the Silent, but the other one doesn't. So the one who sees it goes off and murders the Silent, but the other guy never sees the Silent. Only sees his friend rushing off with a violent, murderous look in his eye, and then returning calmly as though nothing has happened.
I don't know. Just I'm thinking, one very confused friend, I guess.
I'm thinking, because Amy saw that Silent, and Rory, the Doctor, and River did not.
Right.
So, like, what if she had that murderous impulse that we're supposed to have when we see a Silent?
Yeah.
And ran off to murder it, but no one else had any idea what was going on. They would notice that she had run off.
Right.
Yeah, never mind. This is a fruitless avenue of speculation.
It's a very. I mean, I'm just trying to think, because there's so many ways that scenario could end. Like the Silent could just like pop out of view for a second, and then Amy would forget why she was running towards the horizon to get the Silent, and then she just kind of turn around and go back and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that's weird.
I think there are similar logical problems with like the Weeping Angels anyway.
Yeah, I suppose.
There are points in Blink where no one's looking at a Weeping Angel, but it's still a Weeping Angel statue.
Right. Actually, one of the things that I was... I never quite... I guess the Angels two-parter season 5 kind of sort of added evidence to arguments in my head. But I was thinking... Is it that you have to look at the angels, or can you just observe them? And because there's a lot of ways you can observe something. I mean, if you were to touch an angel, you'd be observing it, and so you would not. I mean, like, that's how blind people see things, air quotes. So I mean, are blind people helpless against the angels? Or can they just observe them by touching them and like, haha, I have you defeated?
I don't know.
That's one of the things that bothered me, is that because if the lights go out, it's like, oh no, but at the same time you could just be like feeling for angels. I don't know. That actually probably would not be a very good line of defense.
I don't think that works because in that two-parter they snap people's necks.
Right.
And so whenever they make contact with you, you would be observing them if that were the rule.
Right. Unless they did it really quick and you didn't have time to realize you were observing them, but then no, that doesn't work either. Because you don't have to be consciously... Well, maybe you do have to be consciously observed. I don't know. You know what? Let's... that was last season. Let's focus on... Never mind.
Yeah, never mind that. I think I've said all I need to say about this episode and my feelings toward it.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else that we need to cover. I mean, I didn't really... I understand your complaints, and I don't feel like saying, no, you're wrong for those complaints, because, I don't know.
Because that's the kind of thing I do.
Right, exactly. I wouldn't want to take that away from you.
Right. I see what you mean.
So conclusion, you're right, I'm wrong.
Okay. All right. I can live with that.
All right. Sounds good.
Hey, actually, before we wrap this up, you're aware of what the title of Stephen Moffat's of Neil Gaiman's episode is, right?
Yeah, it's like The Doctor's Wife.
Yeah, it's The Doctor's Wife.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this podcast, you shouldn't consider that a spoiler because it's the title of the episode. But the cover for the next issue of Doctor Who magazine has been revealed, and it says, like, "Meet the Doctor's wife," and people are crying, "Spoilers!" I don't know. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't know. Wait, so the cover just says "Meet the Doctor's wife"?
Well, it has a picture of the Doctor and that character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be... I don't know. Maybe it's just taken out of context.
Well, I don't consider that a spoiler if it's the title of the episode.
Well, no. I guess... no. No. If it's the title of the episode, unless like 40 minutes of the episode is the cold opening, and then they have the title sequence, you're gonna get that title within minutes of watching the episode.
Yeah.
So there are spoilers. Like, you can't not. Like, you could look at TV Guide, and it would give you the title of the episode.
They don't have TV Guide. They have the Radio Times. But anyhow, I think anything that spoils it for you is a spoiler, so that's entirely subjective. But, if that spoils it for you, then you're a dummy. So, that is a spoiler in certain very specific contexts where you're a dummy.
In which case you don't matter, so...
Not to me.
There you have it. I don't know. I find it hard to think of that in terms as a spoiler, just because we've been misled before by titles.
Yeah. I did genuinely think that the spoiler regarding the fact that someone was going to die in The Impossible Astronaut, I did think that was a spoiler, because I wish I hadn't known that. But.
Right, that actually does tell you something about the episode. Whereas the Doctor's wife could just be, well, but like, it could be some character who acts as though they are the Doctor's wife.
Or wife could be an acronym.
Right. Or someone, or it could be just, no, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know, but it could be a number of things, and it could just be... It could be, you know what? It could be like the next Doctor, where like it's a guy who thinks he's the Doctor. This could be someone who thinks they're the Doctor's wife. And
could be, or it could be Jackson Lake's wife.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Huh. Anyhow,
or it's Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh, I hadn't thought of that. Anyhow, one thing I've heard about that episode is that it draws some kind of inspiration or something from the War Games.
Ooh,
which excites me.
That's an episode
I like
I've
the
seen.
War Games. Yeah, it certainly is.
Huh? Inspiration from them?
Well, I don't know. Neil Gaiman said something about borrowing from the War Games. It could be a plot point. It could be another appearance by the Warlords.
Ooh.
Or something. I don't know. I'm sure there are people out there who know because of spoilers.
Yeah.
But I don't do that. So.
Or maybe they'll be opening safes with dynamite as opposed to the sonic screwdriver.
Yes, they could do that.
Oh, so obscure. Why did I even say that?
That was such a slow scene, too.
Yeah, it really was.
It's like, okay, I get why they use the sonic screwdriver now. People say it's a magic wand. Yes, give me the magic wand. Doctor's like, now, Jamie, light the dynamite. It's like, this is going to go forever. Okay. Yeah, I've sort of mentally skipped over this week's episode. Like, I'm just anticipating that one.
Yeah. I am excited for the pirates.
Yeah.
I do think that will be fun.
And this, I believe, is a new Doctor Who writer.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't remember the gentleman's name. He's the guy who wrote the second episode of Sherlock, but I won't hold that against him.
I won't either.
Because the guy who wrote Life on Mars wrote Fear Her, so...
There you have it. I still need to finish Life on Mars. Why haven't I done that yet?
I just don't know. I don't know.
But I also haven't finished Portal 2 yet, so I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, work on that.
I will.
Anyhow, I think it's time for us to wrap this up.
I think you're right.
Okay, you want to try saying things this time?
I will try.
It didn't go well last time, but you can.
No, it didn't. Whenever you put me in charge of that, I always stumble and fail. But I won't this time.
Well, go on.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you've been listening to The Cloister Room, a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. If you'd like to get hold of us, contact us in any meaningful way.
Meaningless ways too.
Meaningless ways are always appreciated. You can do that through our website by leaving a comment there, which is thecloisterroom.com. You can send an email our way. We're thecloisterroom@gmail.com. We are also on Twitter. We are at thecloisterroom. Or if you want to just follow me on Twitter, I'm at Milesbelly, which is spelled Milesbelli.
Or if you wanted to follow me on Twitter, I am at T Dickinson, which is TDICKINSON. That one isn't as hard to spell, but I feel like if he's going to spell it, then so should I.
Well, yours is at least in English. Well, not really English. Well, it's in English.
It's an English name, yes.
Yes. Well, there you go. So
it also includes tea. That most English of beverages.
Yeah. I don't...
From India or wherever. Where does tea actually originally come from? I don't even know.
That's a good question. Because, I mean, I don't know.
Leave a comment.
If you know where tea comes from, please enlighten us. We don't know. Nor can we use Wikipedia for some obscure reason.
You don't drink tea, though. So.
I don't drink tea. I'm not. This is not a burning question for me.
Yeah.
It's just it's a lukewarm.
It's a boiling question.
Oh, Snape.
Yeah, okay, so I think it's time for this to stop. All right, well, until next week, I've been Tom.
And I've been Lewis.
Goodbye.
Farewell.